Hello and welcome to the Squid
Hello.
Game Season 2 Part 1 EFAP Mini Super Chat Catch-Up Episodes 320 and
Well,
321.
that's actually an amazing coincidence because but before we started doing the super chat catch up, Mahler and Fringy and myself, we were just hanging out in a call talking about our favorite, malt shops and the whatnot, and we were discussing what's our favorite squid in media. Just talking about what's our favorite squid in media, and boy, we were just running through the list. Um, And I remember,
Luca.
Fringy, what was your favorite? You mentioned it before. I forgot. What's your favorite squid in media? Book stories and games. What was your favorite?
Well,
You
so,
mentioned it
I
before.
mean, I don't recall this conversation. Blooper. I like Blooper from Mario. He's like,
The white
he's
one. Yeah, he's got like
white.
the little black face with the spots.
He's just making his way in the world.
He's inking. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's a good choice.
So anyway, the first message says, I wish they never showed Frontman's face back in Season 1. The payoff would have been stronger. Also, I kind of hated him asking Gihan the dumb questions while I know his identity. Also, Mike Ehrmantraut is better.
My, I don't see what the comparison between those two characters is, but all right.
So I think their conversations were interesting, while like sitting at like a solid 6, while it could have been 11 out of 10. Every last
Yep.
Mhm.
line between those two characters. And secondly, I don't mind them revealing his face, but now in retrospect, it's like, oh, I probably could have been. Is it more effective, or is it just different for us to realize it along with the main characters, or is it
Mhm.
cooler that we know all of it ahead of time so we can see it all unfold? It creates different experience both ways.
Yeah, different, not necessarily better or worse one way or the other.
Squid Game Season 2, too woke. Too many nice, relatable people I care about. To be fair, I wish there were more people I cared about. Season 1 kind of beats it out in the efficiency of the script department. I
Yeah.
can't believe they repeated the useless police plotline again. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like a Korean trope or something, where you just have the useless
Well, they said
policeman trying to solve stuff.
Season 1 originally didn't have any of it, and they added that to pad it out. And you could tell.
You can tell
Mhm.
because nothing happens over an extended sequence of time.
Yeah. Halfway through Season 2, I love that they doubled down on the philosophical arguments and counter-arguments between characters. Cop is still boring, though, and he's always gonna be, apparently.
Yeah, he
Remember when
will
we
be
wiped out his
forever.
like whole story pretty
Just
quickly because there's just
rapidly, yeah.
there's just no
Yeah.
point in talking about it.
Now it's a cop scene. He gets on a boat and nothing
Anyway,
happens. Moving on.
They're
Back to
still
the
on the
reason
boat
we're
and
here.
talking, and
You
nothing
know.
happened.
Purple hair guy, aka Squidola, is a great addition, man. This is the Jonkler year. Also, Coward Rags was afraid to sing the lyrics. Also, too many women in woke games. 1 out of 3, underrated show. What? What? That's too much
There's like there's
happening.
a few
I
different
was not
points
afraid to
being
sing the
raised all at
lyrics.
once.
I enjoyed Thanos, but
I
they
enjoyed Thanos
wasted him.
too. Well, they got rid of
Yeah, felt
him.
like we
It's
didn't
like,
do
yep,
anything with
there you
him.
go, bye.
He's dead
He was
now.
he was an
Like,
interesting
oh.
angle of which they should have played more into. Different interesting people to have as part of the games who have different values, who do different things.
The washed up cryptocurrency social media guy could be cool. Wasn't.
I just want different stuff, you know. Yep. Farewell and adieu to you fair Fleamish massives. Farewell and adieu to you massives of Fleam.
Yeah. Farewell.
A
To
shilling
you.
for the
Bye.
Squidometer. Calamari.
Ooh boy, calamari is delicious. Y'all a fan of calamari?
Mhm.
Hunger
Yeah.
Games. Oh, yeah, sure. I haven't had much seafood in general. I feel like I'm missing out.
You are. Some of it is super duper yummy-licious. I
Mm-hmm.
love seafood.
Hunger Games did Champions game specifically to fuck over Katniss because she forced 2 winners in her game and her district only has 3 total winners. Did we ever discuss Hunger Games? I feel like we haven't really. Like the
I
plot
don't
of it.
know.
No, I don't
Yeah,
recall.
I don't really Was
I
it
think I know the
was it
general
oh,
premise.
maybe we mentioned that it was, like, because that was the thing with Hunger Games was the second one was Hunger Games again. Because it's like, yeah, of course you gotta do it again.
Yeah.
That's, like, what people that's, like, the selling point of it. That's kind of, like, the core hook, so of course you gotta find a way to do it again, and maybe they were explaining the reason why it happened again.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, my assumption would be that it would have to be a coincidence, right? Because wasn't like the justification, oh, it's the 75th anniversary. So it's like, oh, so like if Katniss was in the 76th games, then she just would have been good. Like they wouldn't
Yeah.
like then she would have had to get dragged back in to do it.
Here we go. Nothing is good enough except Die Hard, which isn't a Christmas movie. Oh my god. Get that man out
It
of here.
Oh,
is.
still bitter about just the truth.
Continue Louisiana Goons. It gets better, I swear. They're talking about the Squid Game, and I fucking hope it gets better when the next half comes out, but I'm
Yeah.
not holding my breath.
Mhm.
It's interesting that the two characters they showed to be complete assholes in the first season are given redeeming qualities in the second. Wonder why. Oh, if you're talking about, so like the best friend, he was always a bit awkward. I think I don't feel like they changed his character significantly.
No.
He's
And
obviously more
no, I
interesting
wouldn't
in
say
the second
so.
season, but that's just because we spent more time with him and they need to have
Has he got
some
more
extra
time?
layers. I think he's the cause of kind of one of my favorite parts of that season being drawing out, old Gihan instead of the man he's become. Like that scene's quite neat for that. And it's only because he has a
Mm.
history with him that you can do that sort of thing. Um, this things I really did like about this season, especially, dude, the fucking recruiter. Oh, mwah. Just
Yeah,
keep
that was
acting,
great.
bro. Not that you need me to encourage you
Mhm.
to. Totally forgot a second season existed for this show, but here we are. Yeah. The recruiter met other people at other locations, and sorry, I'm just trying to. I don't know if this disagrees with anything we've said. That the reason he was found is because he was looking at the station that he met the recruiter at the station. Sure, I can't remember what our conversation was exactly about the nature of finding him, but I mean, I think they pretty well justified it, right? Having everyone looking for him
Mm.
for ages.
Yeah, for constantly. I mean, they didn't gloss over it either. That was a
Yeah.
big part of the plot was how much work and effort and money was being put towards this endeavor. People talking about it, thinking he was crazy, but they take the money and they do it. Then it finally happens, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Haven't seen all this season yet, so I'll watch the EFAP next year. Hopefully, though, you dumbos will play DDLC by then. A man can dream.
Maybe, maybe,
Maybe.
maybe.
Metal, take a shower. You're stinking up Mauler's house.
Oh my gosh, with his German funk,
Oh no. Fun
his
fact,
G
the
funk.
Squid Game coin rug pull live. Was there a Squid Game coin? Sounds cringe if there was. Oh.
Squid coin, squoin,
What?
Coin.
I like how you
squoin.
try
Want to get your
think of ways
squoin?
to make it briefer. Yeah.
A bit random, but I'd love to see y'all cover Legacy of Kain series. The Soul Reaver remaster reminded me of the crazy good story it would make for a good EFAB.
I've heard that Soul Reaver is good. That's what I've heard. I don't know much about the series at all, but all I've ever heard is that Soul Reaver is good and it has a cool story.
Fair enough. Maybe someday we shall play it. Who knows? Good thing the first game wasn't changed to a Legends of the Hidden Temple run.
That's a good thing. I agree.
You know what's funny about that? Because I like the fact that we get to play that first game again, being green light, red light, but, we now have all the information, and the attempt at changing it was interesting, and the different dynamics and stuff at play. But if they ever did like a season 3 with a restarting format, which looks like they're not, but still, if they did, they probably would have to do a different starting game, wouldn't they? Because it'd be like, come on, you're showing something
Yeah,
different.
you don't want to do it again. Yeah. Gotta mix it up.
Good day.
Use magic number.
Have a happy new year, everyone. I would stay around a bit, but I'm going to learn how to play Burning Banners, a fantasy war game. Have fun, and The Big Knights is a very good show. All right.
Well, have fun with your game
Yeah.
and learning it and having fun.
The organ operation should have been just base money making for the game's maintenance. They use weaker calibers in attempting to preserve organ. I hate it all. No, just none of it.
Yeah, it's
Get it
just
out. Get it
stupid.
out of the
Get rid
fucking
of it.
show. It's so stupid. Causes so many fucking problems, and it's so much delays. I can't keep watching them, draw the cross and then put it into the thing and moving the thing and watching them slowly walk around and having them argue while someone's cutting someone over. I'm just like, I don't care about any of this. And the problem is, I can't, because you haven't really. They never involve like anyone who matters. It's always like faceless people just getting
random goons. Yeah.
Ugh, I can't believe they brought that back as well. It's a very squiddy game indeed. Shout out Smaggle. All right. Thanks a lot, Mola. Balatro destroyed my life. Yeah, it could do that.
It does that. It does that.
Slaps the fuck out of Astrologer. If you give up now, I'll kill you myself before your gods do. Just like that, player 120 became MVP. Good rat. Yeah, that was a good moment. I enjoyed that.
I like that a lot. There's a great moment it was a great moment in a series of great moments in an excellent game.
Yeah, I think I said, upon that game, that whole sequence finishing, I was like, all right, I'm in now. We're doing good. This is good stuff. Where else are you gonna go? But it's a bumpy season,
Yeah.
Because the intro's really good. And then you get to the first game, you're like, ooh, and the second game is fucking great. And
interesting dynamic, him being
that
aware,
game is really good
people.
too.
Yeah, the games themselves, but that's it.
The
That's it. There's 3 games.
Like in terms of because Tug of War and they were all right, but yeah, the games in this one were like particularly interesting.
Yeah,
What
I'll
we
say
have a lot
is
of complaints about the games in the first season.
yes, some of them. But I was just gonna say, Tug of War. I really respect the I think they did a lot with what's not a great amount of stuff. Like all the strategy that came into winning Tug of War, the way it was filmed. Like it's quite a lot of tension in that sequence, even though it's one of the simplest games ever in terms of what's understanding how it works and.
The strategy who they have on their team and whatnot. The old guy using his knowledge of playing it to be like, oh, hey, I could still help because I know the strategy to win Tug of War. There actually is a strategy to it. Listen up, youngins.
And it almost bugs me because clearly Season 2, they learned what makes the game super interesting, which is the causing, relationships to break apart or the reveal of just what everyone means to each other and stuff. It's like, because games 2 and 3... Well, specifically 3 obviously covers that. 2 is still like the shifts in tone, the fact that it's like teaming people
tension,
up. Yeah,
you're counting on other people, and there's a single point of failure. Like if one person messes up,
as we know it, like Frontman
being
like celebrating one of the first teams that managed to make it. It's just like that's so interesting. Those little interesting things happening.
Mm-hmm. And of course, him losing his shit when he's messing up is
it just feels like, even with the first game, that it's like they know what works about these games, and they're refining them to the point where we're getting like machine guns of payoffs because it's just it doesn't stop with the 2 latter games. Meanwhile, first season, I think we said like this your Marbles is pretty much unbeatable because the writing behind it was so fucking good, but. The glass bridge is like excellent idea, but the execution needs some help in a lot of ways. There's so many exploits.
Yeah. That was a great idea, but yeah, in practice, lots of flaws.
And I guess this is less to do with the game, but I still hate the flinging piece of glass knocks out one of the last 3 players. That sucks.
That's stupid. Why does all the glass have to explode?
Because of course, if that hadn't happened, she would not have been killed so easily. Anyway, idol boy band culture is very, very popular in Japan and Korea, and very strict. Shit's crazy. Yeah.
Idol boy band.
As we heard.
The Thanos guy got like ruined basically because
of weed, right?
Drugs, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that's just a cultural difference because we don't give a shit about weed here.
In the show. No, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's but to the point that people didn't want him in the show, or there was some backlash, I believe,
Yeah,
that he'd been cast in it.
that's a really great way of saying just how serious it is. I finished season 2, and I think this EFAP is titled wrong. There's only season 2 part 1 on Netflix, not season 2 part 2, you dumbos. Also play DDLC. So that's very true and fair. It is only part 1. Which
Part 1.
I don't think was a good idea at all. Recast SG Serious, recast Tom Cruise as Gihan, Wacky One, Arnie as Gihan, a cringe one, Orlando Bloom as Gihan, Hulk Hogan as Cho-Hyun, I guess, anti-woke recast JK. I mean, I'd watch Squid Game with all those actors. It'd be funny as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
First ever super chat was listening to the anniversary stream. You guys discussing Elden Ring's flumpy difficulty is why I believe Sekiro to be the best From Software game. No multiplayer to account for. Sekiro is their best game. It's not even close. It was awesome to play.
Not
that
even
game.
close.
Nope. Like,
oh wow.
It was. I don't know how long it took playing that game, but it became very clear the mechanics in there are so much more layered and complicated, yet smooth and satisfying. It's a refined From Software combat system that I guess they don't want to pursue for whatever reason.
No.
But he just dodge rolled around all the time.
365 players in game 2, teams of 5 for 5 minutes, so excluding cleanup time means 6 hours, realistically 12, of being sat there. Reckon there were any piss breaks while chained together? Possibly.
Yeah, I mean,
possibly.
it's a bit awkward, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
that doesn't really...
They had a problem to
work.
solve with that one, because you can't have the teams
they
called in one by one because you need them there as the audience, so...
Yeah.
You'd have that's probably the best
yeah,
solution that they were allowed to pee when they needed to, or something like that.
And we just never saw it.
Yeah, it's not convenient.
Time.
What do two squids in love do? They get calamaried. Well,
Interesting.
there you go. Yeah. Please imagine how much Cartman would enjoy Squid Game. Oh, he'd want to organize his own. He would create his own immediately.
Yeah,
Like,
he would.
And he would make Kyle participate. they should probably
Kyle,
do that. That would be pretty fucking funny.
That'd be a funny episode. Yeah, funny episode of it. That's just the case, and it's just like I could just imagine him like on the announcing everything, making fun of Kyle specific. Like Kyle wins and he says like Kyle was eliminated when he obviously passed the test.
Greetings from Copenhagen. I was surprised how low the KRW currency compared to pounds. 100 million is just shy of 55,000 pounds, so not life-changing yet. Well, and they're clear about that. To be fair, life-changing is relative to all of those people. It depends how much debt they have.
Yes. I remember it was something. I think we figured out. Wasn't it something like $30 million?
It's
like, isn't that what it translated to? It was like a huge
I had a
amount.
formula
It'd be
for
like
it.
winning the lottery.
I can't remember what it was. It was something like half it and then take off a 0. I think that's how you get like regular dollars or something. It's close to something like that.
Yeah. It was something like $30 million. But yeah, I mean that's the same as how like the yen is like, it's like all the Western currencies more or less are like easy to sort of translate to one another. Because they're all like in the same realm, but for some reason, yeah, like the yen, it's like 1,000 of that is like $1 or something. Just makes it a bit more confusing, and I guess it's the same with the Korean currency as well.
Yeah, dongs and rupees and all that sort of stuff are
Blimblams
just
and
way up there.
fleams.
Well, it's just because like the pound and the euro are pretty similar, and the euro and US dollar are pretty similar. US dollar, Australian, Canadian dollar is pretty similar.
Farewell and adieu to you, fair Flemish massives. Farewell and adieu, you massives.
Farewell to you.
He should just say playing girls' games gave him an insight into the female mind so he could film voyeur porn like how Movie Bob said. Oh, yeah, I remember him saying that was... He just didn't need to include it, but he did. He put that in his video and he let the world know.
That seemed like an uncharacteristically creepy thing for him to say.
You don't have to say those kinds of things. What the hell?
In my opinion, Hunju's reason for her debts is no more selfish than the others. Everyone made debts through their bad decisions. She's just unfairly lost her job. Well, so I don't think I agree because these are. I thought that these were future surgeries that she wants, which she can opt out of. A lot of people here, if they don't pay their debts off, they're dead. And I know you could say, yeah, well, they shouldn't have made their mistakes. It's like, okay, but that's the reality of their current situation.
She was in debt though because of like losing her job, right? Wasn't that
I'd have
like
to
an
check
angle
back,
that because of the
but if I remember correctly, the primary motivation that she made clear was to be able to go to, was it like Thailand or something, and be able to just live her life without anyone doing or saying anything, which is like, okay, that's
Meanwhile, there was that
nice.
old guy who had like what 10 million, like or 10 billion, like in debt.
Well, yeah,
The
and
crazy
I don't know,
guy.
man. Like, it's
So that's
pretty
crazy.
motivating if you have people saying, like, I'm going to collect your eyes and teeth, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'd rather continue playing Squid Game at that point. I completely understand that. It's just, there is an interesting dimension of dragging a lot of people along with you, which was, again, another one of the very good ideas of Season 2.
Good ideas.
I just feel like we could have explored it a lot more instead of having those fucking worthless scenes, of which there were too many, once again. A shilling, or maybe some won for the squidometer. Thank you, squidometer.
I love the squidometer.
You know, like...
The squidometer is a unit of measurement. The squidometer shows you how many of those you have.
Kino Loy cried when they chanted, one more game instead of one way out. Shame on you, Master Soul. Hi, Rags. Hi, Platoon. Hi, Das. Hi, Fringy. Hi, Mola. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
This fork is more lethal than most lightsabers, lol. Yep. How it goes. Some real experiments showed that just picking up a bush would confuse targeting AI. Yeah, I mean, I could buy that. You guys talked about wanting more unceremonious deaths in media. Why doesn't Thanos' death work for you? I'm almost certain we read that one out on the stream because that was makes for an interesting conversation, but you should be able to figure out the key difference, right? Like, it's always going to be about what it means to the story. And unceremonious deaths, it's not because it doesn't mean story meaningless death. It usually will have an impact of some kind. It's just usually often something that... Because we're so used to the melodramatic death for a hero. That's like the most common way it goes. Or a villain.
Yeah, where it's slow and they get a moment to sort of absorb that they're dying and say goodbye, as opposed to just shot through the head, dead, like instantly.
I can't remember if we referenced it at the time, but you know the Sterling K. Brown's death in The Predator? He's like arguably super responsible, villainous, blah blah blah, and it's just in the middle of an action scene, he blows his own head off, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
and
like
it's
you
just,
blink
we're
and
moving
you
on.
miss it.
Yeah.
You blink and you actually wouldn't notice that he was dead, which is like not... I don't know, the easiest way to explain it's Tarantino's really good at it. Tarantino has a lot of instances where like actual main characters will die very quickly and in a way that is
There's not time to
melodramatic.
Yeah, like just... Well, I mean,
what's happened.
There are certain Whedon ones that we don't need to reference by name, but they are some of the perfect examples of unceremonious deaths that have great meaning.
Yeah. It's just that part of it is to just do with the recognition, telling a story, like an element that's almost like it's actually quite important to think about is that though the characters that you're following have significance because you've chosen them to be, the main characters of the story, exist in a world that's meant to be a lot bigger than them. Kind of no matter who they are, even if they are like the most important person in the world, they still exist in a world that's a lot bigger than them. And like sometimes, especially in instances where you've got people who injure, sometimes they might just die really, really quickly before they could even see what's going on and not be afforded the time to like be like, you got me good. You got to tell my wife, like, and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's just sometimes that's not the... I don't know. Again, it's Tarantino. It's just like, sometimes a character's just like, oh, bye. Like, you're just done. That's it. You're gone. You're gone in the same way that like one of the random stormtroopers is just dead. you know. But there should be no reason that the stormtroopers should be treated as like that's that could only happen to them, rather than it being something that could happen to like one of the main characters, for instance. One of the main characters could just get hit through the head with a blaster, and then that would be it.
Yeah.
And plus, it keeps people on their toes. Means that they don't, you know, they don't necessarily know what to. And in a way that's hopefully not bullshit, because you can keep people on there in a way that's incredibly annoying. But, you know, just because that's the case doesn't mean you
give enough plot armor to a character and people want them to die, which is not what you want.
Yeah, and exactly.
The VIPs might let Marines live to see what happens. I mean, first of all, you owe it to the audience to fucking give us something as to what the hell is going on in that sequence, but it didn't look like, you know, plenty of people were dying gradually. It's just, they had immense plot armor in that sequence, and they fired like 1 billion bullets in that whole sequence. It took for fucking ages. Oh, it went on for so long. So long, the action sequence. Never ending. Please include Costco King Kong in the Long Kong arc. The Costco King Kong. I'll have to... what that might mean.
Like, are you talking about the movie itself as like Costco King Kong, or...
Mike, Saul, Walter, and Jesse should play 5 legs. I don't know what that... 5 legs? I'm not sure.
When their legs are tied together and they have to move around.
Oh, that minigame.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
that would be interesting, I guess. Who would be playing what games? I guess that's something we'd have to watch them figure out, because I have no idea what their fucking familiarity with any of those games are. But you can imagine, I think Mike would lose his mind, because he'd be like, I'm dead. You're all shit.
You stupid son of a bitch. Like when he throws the stone and misses, it was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up.
And he'd be like, let me do it, you stupid. And then some guy raises his gun, and he's like, God damn it.
God damn it. Throw the fucking stone, Walt.
I will kill you myself. It would be great. This is basically the end of Gi-hun's hero arc. Inho wanted to break his beliefs, and I think he might be able to, calling him out on his hypocrisy. I'm sorry, I don't think they did enough between them before they basically ruined that. There's a chance they can bring it back, like he can play both roles and go in and out of them, but I think they're done with it. Look at the end of that season half, and it upsets me, because I thoroughly enjoyed watching Frontman be a part of the games. But oh well. The reason Mufasa is making more money, is because Disney's buying out theaters and actively pushing out Sonic, like they did with Hateful Eight. Right. And the extinct animal of the day is the Raphus cucullatus, an unfair
Raphus
icon.
cucullatus.
Unfair icon of extinction. Look who it is.
Well, if it's an extinct animal, then it seems like a fair icon, right?
Well, I'm not sure why they think it's an unfair
Let's
icon.
take a look here.
But he's...
Oh, the dodo.
Yeah.
Oh, that is an unfair icon, because we fucking did that. It was humans' fault.
Well,
I think we introduced yeah, I think the dodo.
Humans' fault, that one.
Yeah, it's not their fault, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, is that the... I mean, we've made a shit ton of stuff extinct. We're kind of... I think we're the best at it, actually. We're the single best source of extincting any given amount of a species.
Well,
the dodo wasn't ready to deal with people showing up, because...
Yeah, then they just all of a sudden showed up. We didn't... We're
Sorry,
like
we're the best at being on Earth. I don't know what to say, you know? Winners. What humanity is.
You'd think that the dodo would be like, oh, these guys are great. They're like weird chicken birds, and people love these little dorks. And they'd bring them back to England, and they would be everywhere. Everyone would have a pet dodo. They'd be everywhere. They'd be like the new dogs.
The alternate history. Well,
yeah, the alternate history that didn't... Yeah, exactly, because, well...
And on that note, final message. Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate it, and we shall see you in the next thingamajiggy, whatever it may be. Bye-bye.
Yeah, goodbye,
See you
everybody.
later,
We'll see you
everybody.
later.